Welcome to another episode of Nerd Out. I'm Randy. This is Brian, and I just have no new toys to review, man. And it's like, where are all our Titans Returns toys? Like,
fuck that.
Yeah, no kidding. I seriously have gone
losing interest.
I've seriously driven to I've driven to like 10 Walgreens.
I've done 30, and I'm not joking.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Walgreens 30 times in the last 2 weeks.
Well, you went on vacation and you
hit every Walgreens.
I know.
Nothing.
I know.
No, I'm done. I don't care.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
The simple answer is just pre-order them from like a retailer that gets them early, but that's not how I want to do it. Like I'd
love to run into them. Me too. I've been Instagramming Warp 9 every day.
Yeah.
From to show
really?
Up. Yeah, I've been waiting for them to show up.
Yeah, seriously,
nothing.
I have too, and nothing. I mean, it's like I do like the thrill of the hunt, but I need to know that there's some sort of like the
thrill of the hunt is great if you don't starve.
Right.
Yeah, we're out of ammo, starving. Like, come on.
Yeah, between those and the new Marvel Legends X-Men figures, I've been spending far too much time hunting those down. I really want a Shatterstar and Cyclops too, but Titans Returns, I really want some. Please, let's get them in our hands. But in the meantime, we're just gonna bullshit. And I was thinking like I was thinking about this subject, and maybe you could shed some light. Like, toy lines are a funny thing. Like today, you can make a toy line for anything.
Any House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, absolutely.
For it, yeah.
But when you market, when you make a toy line, and you market it to children. There are certain things, like through the history of toys, they have marketed some really bizarre shit to kids, and totally inappropriate. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to include the NECA stuff and the McFarlane stuff, because that was collector. That was collector. 80s
right. Toy lines are like, what the fuck were you guys thinking?
Right. Like, we'll go right out, like Rambo.
Yeah.
Rambo. They made, in the 80s, they made a toy line for Rambo and the Forces of Freedom. Rambo, correct me if I'm wrong, he was like a Vietnam vet.
Yes.
Who went...
A sick Vietnam vet.
Right.
He was a
post-traumatic stress syndrome.
He was mistreated and unleashed hell on a town.
Yeah, and it was like incredibly... And they took that, Coleco Toys took that, and they marketed it into a cartoon with a series of action figures.
God bless him.
God bless him.
I mean, that's wonderful, but that's just... I mean, yeah, man.
That's crazy.
He softened up in the sequel.
Yes.
Became more sympathetic. Yes. He was a hero. But yeah, I mean...
Yeah, the first one was called First Blood.
Yeah. They drew First Blood, not me.
They did soften him, but like...
Still sweet.
But I will say though, that was I really liked that toy line. I didn't collect it as a kid, but
I had one of them.
Which one did you have? Do you remember?
I want to say I had a Rambo.
Okay.
I think
Turbo Fighter, the one with the white shirt, or the shirtless one?
Shirtless.
Okay,
shirtless.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
They were really cool, well done figures, and they were like Coleco was doing a really unique scale at the time, because they also did sectars of that same scale. Mm-hmm. But that was a what the fuck are they doing type thing.
And I remember as a kid even thinking, wow.
Me too.
No way.
There's no way my parents would let me see Rambo, but you're gonna try to sell me action figures. Another one in the same lines is RoboCop.
What the hell was that about?
What was that about?
And that was Now, did that come out at the time of the first movie, or were they already a couple movies in?
It was, I think, I think it came out after the first movie, before the second one.
Okay, so it was dark. There's no need for toys. For kids.
RoboCop and the Ultra Police.
Yeah, and those were not toy friendly. Those were not kid friendly movies at all.
Not at all.
Like, I mean, that's not even young adult friendly.
No. That is a straight up violent.
Yeah, that is as R as they come.
Yeah. He looks marketable. Cool. Yeah. But just that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where they all are. Like, another one is like Terminator 2 was also rated R, and they did a full line of action figures for that. And that's the same thing. That was the
beginning of selling out merchandise. It's like, I guess it's
not really. Yeah, it is selling out, but it's just the fact that like.
It's taken a franchise for every penny you could squeeze out of it, and it's sort of a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no, it is a beautiful thing.
You know, it's like, but what about oh my god, Alien?
Alien, yeah,
Like-
Alien and Predator.
Like,
We'll
hello!
put those together.
Like-
That's insane.
Yep.
And the thing is
Aliens from the 70s.
Yeah.
Like that huge, like whatever the hell that thing was.
right. And the toy line didn't come out, I think, till 96, 93
Yeah,
or
yeah.
96. But definitely. And it's not like
Who thought that up? Like,
No.
who said that's a good idea?
Oh yeah, you're talking about like the 79.
Yeah,
the big
79 alien. Like, who's
It's
gonna see that at
crazy.
Toys R Us and be like, yeah,
It's
little
awesome
Joey's
looking.
gonna love that.
Mhm.
Here, son.
Well, they were pretty much pulled off the shelves, I believe, because parents were complaining about that. And I want to say I kind of understand that. Like, I'm not trying to be an uptight parent, but like, I think it looks cool. But if my son said he wanted that, like, there were first of all no reference for a kid in 1979 for Aliens, because that thing was an ultra violent, scary, terrifying
It was a
film.
terrifying film.
That's like if they made and they did make but like Freddy Krueger, like like
the
in
Max
the 80s.
Effects.
Yeah, the
Yep.
Max Effects
Yep.
Freddy Krueger. That's right. I forgot about that. But like that's like he was like a child.
He's a child killer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you really want your kids
Yeah.
like.
I mean, they made a lot of merchandising for Freddy and Jason, even for kids. Like they made the Spitballs. Do you remember those? I wish I had them.
Oh yeah, yes, I do know what you're talking about.
Right. So it wasn't like they were like the NECA figures where they were. Yeah, we're gonna put them in Toys R Us as a collectible.
Yeah, these were in Circus World. They were
Yeah.
everywhere. Like they had an aisle, like
Right.
next to GI Joe between Star. I
Right.
mean, it was after that.
Like
but
Max Effects, the Max Effects Freddy Krueger was made by Matchbox, and like I think of that as being like as child,
and that
marketing.
turned into the Alien. They never came out.
never came
but
out of it.
that was like a transformer.
Holy
It turned
shit.
into all kinds of naughty things.
Yeah. That
Like-
concept of that toy line concept, like I'm not into like.
I wish that would have stuck.
Me too.
That would have been sweet.
I'm not really into like the whole like doll stuff, even though now I'm into Mezco, so maybe I am. But
You weren't dead.
Yeah, I wasn't then. But if they would have come out with an alien, where it was a guy, where you put the alien costume on home run, man.
That'd
I'm
be
totally
sort of
into
sweet.
it. That'd
Actually, that would
sweet.
be really cool.
Yeah, I would be all into
Especially
that.
with the guy who played the alien. He was like 7 something.
Was he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really awkward because he was so thin. The guy was like over 7 feet tall, like $160.
Wow. Yeah.
Thin guy, but
Yeah, if I was 7 foot tall, I would immediately get into filmmaking because I think like you have
they
that,
would use
like,
you for all
yeah,
kinds of
even
stuff.
though now they just CGI, but yeah, they would like if you aggressively tried to go into the movies and you're like 7'2", the likelihood is you're getting hired for specific parts.
Yeah.
So hence David Prowse.
Is he a bastard?
Yeah, I don't
He's
want to
sort of a
say,
bastard,
but
right?
I watched
I mean-
this documentary on Netflix.
I started to watch it, and bored the hell out of it.
And my thought is like, he just seemed so unappreciative of the opportunity and
That's
that
what I
he was
thought,
given,
too, yeah.
and to assume that this
And
documentary
he gives James Earl Jones no credit.
yes,
Like, he always writes his signature, David
The
Prowse
real-
is Darth Vader.
yes.
Screw you.
Look, I respect David Prowse's performance of Darth Vader, but to not give credit to James Earl Jones for bringing that character to life
Mhm.
with his voice is totally unfair.
Yeah, and I mean, especially if you don't believe us, watch the you can see footage where they have Prowse's
Right,
voice in it. And
right.
it's like,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's
like,
laughable, you know?
And
But-
you know one thing I learned from this documentary is that like they didn't use him in a lot of Return of the Jedi because he was such a pain in the ass to work with. They had like a stunt double. Yeah, for David Prowse.
Wow.
I mean, it's just like, look, I understand like the frustration, but there's certain points where you just have to appreciate the opportunities that you're given and embrace that. And it just seems like, and I don't know David Prowse personally, but it seemed from this documentary and stories that I've heard that maybe he just doesn't
Get it?
fully improve. Yeah, and it's like you really want to like don't like be involved. Like it's not like that they withheld financial. I don't know that they did or not, but it's like people loved him and appreciated him for the work he did, but don't discredit James Earl Jones
Yeah, no
and things like
shit.
that. But anyways, that's a little. But if you can, I'll put the name of what it was. But check it out on Netflix.
Owl Street 1976.
No, this
The
is a
movie.
different one. This is like I saw that too.
There's
but-
another one on
Yeah,
there?
yeah. This is specifically David Prowse.
He got a whole movie?
Yeah. It's like I am Darth Vader. I'll look it up. Yeah. Check it out. It's,
Yeah, I
it's a
want to see that.
whole
Okay,
movie.
that's sweet.
And there's some absolute bitterness going on there. But you should check it out.
For a stunt for a guy in a costume.
Yeah. And again, I don't discredit David Prowse for what he did. Like, I'm sure there was some absolute acting.
But
involved.
he was way more replaceable than James Earl Jones as that
Absolutely.
character. I hate to say
Absolutely.
it, but dude, it's like
you nailed it.
Like if they would have had a different guy in Rogue One doing
Right.
that voice, I wouldn't have accepted
right.
it. Like,
right. I'm
sorry,
with you.
Dave.
You're right.
Sorry.
You nailed
But-
it.
All right.
Yeah. But what was our subject? Oh, back to action figures.
Yeah.
Commando, was that rated R?
I think so.
That was a weird one. I mean, they weren't a very like extensive line, but they did.
Yeah, I forgot
Commando
about
action
that.
figure.
It did, and it had cloth on it, right?
There was
It was
two
his
versions.
vest?
There was one where it was like a 6-inch figure, and it had like cloth pants and a vest.
Was there a He-Man size one?
Then they did a 3 3/4 inch and like sign where they were like bright colored. And then they made not just Matrix, but they made all the characters, and they made them really really stylized and like cartoony. But it just seemed like that was
It's a
completely
very violent movie.
Yeah, it was very violent. Like they were totally banking on the Schwarzenegger name.
Schwarzenegger party.
I mean, I have to assume.
Yeah,
that's
why
what it
not?
was. Yeah,
Sure.
no, I agree. I agree.
Mhm.
And here's another one. Even though I'm a little bit more forgiving on this one, but Starship Troopers, like that's it's also another Paul Verhoeven movie. It's like
Which his movies just
Love
don't
him.
make toys for like. I mean, I love them,
They're-
but not for kids.
what
you know?
happened to him? Is he just not making movies? He made some of my favorite movies
Yeah,
in
me
the
too.
80s and 90s, like
I
Starship
don't know
Troopers.
What happened to him?
Yeah, I loved Starship Troopers. I
Yep.
thought it was
Total Recall.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He did that. Yeah, he did a lot of movies that were like lent itself to action figures, but by making action figures, I mean, you're kind of making it for the wrong audience.
Yeah, but that's what I love about him. He could take something that would so lend itself to children
yes,
and just
And just-
totally blow it out of the park. Like, oh my
absolutely.
god!
Both
Like,
those movies, like Starship Troopers, RoboCop, ultra violent.
RoboCop scared the
Me
shit
too.
out of me as a kid because I saw it as a kid, and I remember
Wow,
when they
did
were blowing
you?
them apart.
Yeah,
I was like I didn't know
dude,
how
the
to
Office
process
scene,
that.
the Office scene
Yeah.
at 209.
Yeah, I
Crazy.
just didn't know how to take that. My
Right.
stepfather didn't know
How
what to
old
do with
were
it.
you?
What was it, 86?
When were you like 9 years old?
9 or
That's
10 years
absolutely
old.
insane. I couldn't even imagine. Like, I wouldn't want to be the parent who has to sit with your child after watching that scene. where
But
he's
the
into-
whole thing is that, like, we grew up, like, my brother and I, we grew up in a house with 3 generations. Like, it was my grandparents,
yeah.
aunts and uncles, my mom,
Yeah.
all in the same house.
Yeah,
So
I
we
get
saw
it.
everything.
Yeah.
Like, nobody would cater to, like, oh, the little kids can't
Right,
see that. They
right,
just
right.
dragged
It's like,
us. And
I
like,
want to watch Aliens, so
Yeah.
if you want to sit in this room and watch Alien, I
Aliens
remember,
is a Christmas movie to me.
really
Yes.
Aliens.
Aliens. Because my uncle would, like, for Christmas vacation, we'd come down
Mhm.
and everybody would stay at my grandfather's and he would bootleg movies. And
Mhm.
we'd watch bootleg movies all through Christmas vacation.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's
I
like-
understand. Yeah.
It's just,
I remember when I must have been 10 years old, and I convinced a babysitter to let me watch Nightmare on Elm Street.
oh, Jesus.
And I said, I promise I won't be scared. I'm not going to tell my parents. And it was that whole conversation.
Beautiful.
I'm not going to lie. I was terrified for weeks and weeks on end. Like, I was like, I forever remember that experience of being terrified. Like, just imagine, like,
that's a scary
scary,
one. That's a
dude.
legit, the first one, that movie was
yeah,
scary.
as a
you know?
father of a kids, I couldn't imagine my kids even watching 10 minutes of that.
But would you let them, like, for a sleepover? Like, when
Not
they're
that
10?
movie. Not that movie.
When they're 10? And they have their friends
not
over?
not Nightmare on Elm Street. Like I do maybe like a Starship Troopers because it's ultra. Maybe not. I'm trying to think of I don't know. Maybe.
Starship. See, I think
Maybe-
Starship Troopers would be worse than a horror movie.
Yeah. Why is
'Cause of
that?
sex.
Yeah, I agree.
Wait, ton of
Okay,
swearing
how about
and
how
like.
about Predator? Predator is super scary.
Yeah, that's
but
a
like,
great movie.
yeah, that is a great movie. I maybe when my kids are like 11, maybe a sleepover for Predator. But I just don't think I could do Nightmare on Elm Street. Like that's a vicious film.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard one because it's like my mother would never like let me watch that. Like,
Right,
she wouldn't
right.
stop me. It's like
Yeah.
like we just we're watching some bad stuff, but she'd stay out.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
She'd be like, no,
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
that's
get
tough.
it. That's a tough choice.
wouldn't know how to be a parent.
Yeah. I think my number one. I have a couple others that I'll put. Like I think Tales from the Crypt was a weird one they made toys for. And also,
Did they make them back in the day?
yeah. It was.
Sweet.
They were. I mean, but I don't know. For some reason, that seemed a little different. But no, that's another one where it's like totally marketing pretty scary.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And I also thought they did toy lines for The Mask, the movie. I don't think that was an R-rated movie, and it could be, but that was. I think if you watch that again, you realize that really is not a children's movie. The Mask.
I need to watch.
I have to watch that again too.
Yeah.
I really
It had
liked
adult humor.
Yeah,
though.
oh yeah,
very adult
like,
humor.
He was a pretty scary dude. Like I don't know, but my number one, and this is the best one, is they did the Toxic Crusaders toys.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which was based off the movie Toxic Avengers, and the first Toxic Avenger
was brutal. All those Traumaville movies are just the most vile.
Yeah,
they're vile.
Yeah, they're vile in every, and I love it.
Well, because they're meant to be.
Yes.
They're like, let's make the most vile.
They were self-aware,
and it's like that's wonderful.
Yeah, no, it is wonderful.
Like, yeah,
I loved the Toxic Avenger, and I actually watched it fairly recent, and I still love it. But like the fact that they were in a boardroom, some guys, and they're like, let's
revolt people.
Let's do an action figure line of Toxic Avengers. And obviously it was like during the 90s when there was a huge trend of like being very environmentally conscious, which is a good thing. But like they could have created a toy line in and of itself. I don't know that the Toxic Avenger was enough of a push to like force them to really want to merchandise and market the Toxic Avenger. Like they could have made up their own character, sort of like Captain Planet. Like remember the Captain Planet? They could have done the same basic concept, but they actually took the Toxic Avenger with his mop and everything and turned it into an action figure line.
You know what
else
was a pretty crazy one too?
What's that?
Manglord.
Yeah, but that was based off nothing though.
It was based off nothing, but it was pretty sick.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you could tear them apart, put them back together. You can't. I mean, it was like sort of swamp.
Yeah, I agree. Also, like, there's like, if you want to go into that
wasn't
level,
based on a franchise.
There's also like they made Mosquitor was pretty gross. Like,
yeah, he was gross.
Yeah, he was pretty gross. You squeeze his chest and just like layers of blood.
Yeah, ooze and shit. Yeah, they did ooze like in the 80s. They were way into ooze. It was like,
definitely like Mad Balls that were pretty gross. Garbage Pail Kids. I loved the gross out stuff.
I wish they would have made a Garbage Pail Kid toy line
of the movie.
Just of like the 80s
action figures. That they did.
I never saw the movie. I heard it's like a cult classic.
You should absolutely see it.
Okay, I'll see it.
So bizarre.
Yeah,
I didn't see it as a kid. I saw it later in life, and actually, I'd like to watch it again. But it's so bizarre. Like I got to watch that again. It's just, I don't know what they were thinking. I really don't.
Probably the same thing they were thinking when they made Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
I heard that movie is like sort of ridiculously like.
I remember
it's bad, but there's a lot to it.
I remember liking it. I saw it at a Dollar Theater.
Yeah, I mean that's I watched this crazy half-hour special. It's
really?
Like, it's. I don't want to say it's respected.
It was John Leguizamo and I forgot who else.
There's a lot of thought went into that movie. Like,
they made action figures for that too, and they were actually really well done action figures for the time. But that's a movie I'll have to see again. I remember seeing that at the Dollar Theater with my friends as a teenager, and I remember liking it even if it wasn't of the same reference material. I remember thinking it was uniquely interesting. I don't know. But, I mean, it's interesting, like, we get all these collector-based toy lines now, which are targeted towards an adult collector. But, like, what's going to be the next? What's going to be the next? Is that genre done? Like, making R-rated action figures targeted towards kids? I mean, we don't get a lot of movie action figures anyway. Like, we don't get...
Well, I think the genre, that genre now is
I think you're right. I think you're right.
That's what it led to. Like,
yes.
Wow. We can sell stuff like this to adult men on action figures,
But you don't suspect that there's going to become a time where they take a movie. What's a recent like R movie that could be marketable? I'm trying to think of like something really like. I don't know, like make like a Blair Witch cartoon and like have it with like a bunch of kids and action figures. Right. Like I don't sense that will happen because I think you're right. I think I just think it's a different toy marketplace. Like we really don't get major toy lines based on movies anymore. Back in the 80s and 90s, like every movie had a toy line. Like Bill and Ted's had a toy line. It was
built into it. Yeah, almost.
Absolutely. But that's interesting.
That Star Wars I truly believe that's because of Star Wars. The success of Star Wars figures.
I do agree with you. But you could go back to before that because Mego Toys.
Yeah.
They made everything. They made an action figure line for the Waltons. Like I think, I mean, like it's just
sweet.
so bizarre. They made action figures for everything. But I think a lot of that, as you said, was a result of Star Wars because after Star Wars was such a big success, every toy company jumped on the bandwagon to try to get
The three-quarter thing.
Yeah, like Black Hole, Buck Rogers. Like they just made action figures for everything, like Chips and everything. But I think those days are gone. But I also think the days of I don't know. I guess it's kind of diverging to another subject. But like the days of action figures in general is becoming more and more niche every year.
Yeah, I mean,
kids play video games, and that's fine. I understand it, but to me, nothing beats a good old-fashioned action figure.
Physical toys are way better than video games.
I agree.
I think.
I don't want to say.
I'm not going to rip on video games. I'm just saying
no.
video games don't work well for me. I'm not like.
I'm too ADD for video games.
I think I am too, or they're hard now. There's so many buttons. It's like I feel like I'm working.
Right. I mean, you could say that about like something like Transformers, but actually the Transformers that they market towards children are actually becoming more simple. Mm-hmm. So it's actually going in reverse. Weigh in. Let us know what you think. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and check out our P.O. Box number right there somewhere. Send us whatever. And until next time,
nerd out!
His pants definitely come off, but it's only so you can see the details of the muscles on the legs.